Assalamu alaikum. As usual, we got today a very special guest on our very special program, Friends of Bangladeshi. And this person has to be a special person. And before we talk about her, and before I introduce her, let's go and see a video clip.
Trisha Silvester MBE from Kent in the UK is the chair of Sripur Village Bangladesh charity organisation. She visited Bangladesh in 1977 and discovered a Canadian charity running an overcrowded orphanage, Families for Children International, in Dhaka, Tezgah. Since then, Trisha has been a regular volunteer at the orphanage. In 1989, with the support of British Airways and large sums from donors, Trisha raised funds to form a charity organisation, Sripur Village Bangladesh, also known as Shishupalli Plus. The Sripur Village Bangladesh is a UK-based charity that funds women and children living in rural parts of Bangladesh. Through Sripur Village Bangladesh, Trisha provides a safe and loving environment to destitute mothers and children, also offering them education and vocation training, giving them the chance of a full independent life.
Well, we have just seen a video clip about our very special guest. And the guest today is none other than Trisha Silvester MBE. Welcome to our studios.
Thank you.
Tell us, which part of UK are you from?
I'm from Kent.
And when did you first visit Bangladesh?
In 1977, so
77.
40 years ago, yes.
Was it to do with any charity or
Yes,
anything?
I went with a Canadian woman who was running a home for abandoned children in Dhaka. The name of her organisation was Families for Children. And after I'd been there, I came back to London and set up a UK charity, Families for Children, to support her work. And since then I've been going back at least once a year.
You came back to the UK
Yes.
and you set up a charity now?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. I registered a UK charity with the Charity Commission.
What's the name?
Well, it was Families for Children UK because it was supporting the work of Sandra Simpson and the Canadian charity. But in the 1980s, British Airways stewardess took unpaid leave to work with us, and she involved British Airways.
What's her name?
Pat Kerr.
Pat Kerr.
She now lives at our project 80% of the year. She's our overseas director. But in the 80s, British Airways became involved through Pat, and they helped us hugely to raise the money to build a village, which is what we did about 40 miles north of Dhaka. In Sripur.
Because I remember those days, there were a lot of publicity in British media
Yes.
about Sripur and the project and the British Airways
That's right.
getting involved with the project.
Yeah, their press office was very efficient. There were some films on TV. Desmond Wilcox
Yes,
did
yes.
some
I
films
remember
on
all
TV. So it was fantastic. It was a win-win. We got our village, and BA had, quite rightly, good publicity on how much they'd helped us.
So when was the village opened?
It was opened in 1989 by Lord King and President Ershad.
Ershad.
Yeah, they both came to the opening. And because it was a village and we'd been able to plan it, we were able then to take mothers with their children rather than expect the mothers to give up their children. And they stay with us now up to 3 years, and we teach them income generating skills, literacy and numeracy. We run a school for the children. We've just reorganised our preschool.
So you raised funds
Yes,
through the help of British Airways.
to build the project.
No, how did you get the land? Did you buy the land?
Yeah, we bought the land.
Or was it donated?
No, the
bought
charity
the-
bought the land.
Okay.
And British Airways involved all of their experts on designing and planning the village. And it went out to tender.
Okay.
And a Bangladeshi company headed up by KZ Islam bid for it and has built us the most amazing village. I mean,
How big is it?
it's on about 18 acres now.
18 acres, that's
It's
quite
big. It is big.
What does it have?
It has a clinic, it has a school, it has a garment factory training rooms, it's got income generating rooms, it's got a Shreveport Village trade outlet where we make products, it has paper making, it has 5 fish ponds, big dining, not dormitories but houses for each of we have a baby house and a middle girls and a middle boys house, agricultural land, meeting rooms. I mean, it's grown and grown and grown.
So what's the number of children you have?
Well, we have about 100, at the moment, about 160 mothers, and we're probably responsible for about 600 children. Some of them will be in further education, and some of them will be in job placements. We foster our older boys out into the local community, which has worked really well. We have a project for street children in Dhaka. We've just opened an overnight shelter for girls on the street.
Where?
In Nikunja, by the airport.
Nikunja?
Yes.
By the airport?
Yeah.
Where do you get all the children? How do you get them to come to you?
Well, they come with their mothers. So we have social workers that go out. We have an office in Kurigram and Chilmari, up in the north, in the Char
North of
areas.
Bangladesh.
In the northern part of Bangladesh, and the Char communities. And we get quite a lot of mothers from there. And people know about us. So if somebody comes across a woman with children in need, then our social worker will go out and meet with her and make sure that the need is, or they fit the criteria that we can help with, and then they will come to us and have an individual training plan over a 3-year period to give them the skills that they need to support their family back in the community.
How old are they? Do they have to be when they come?
No, there's no requirement on age. Some of them are quite young.
How young? Children?
Oh, the children, well, anything from newborn up to now. Actually, at Shreveport, probably the oldest child is about 13.
13,
Yes.
okay. Okay, so when they come, they are put in shelters?
No, we have our own buildings that they
Dormitories?
live in with their mothers. They sleep with their mothers at night.
Okay.
And we have baby rooms and middle girls' rooms. They're just buildings like houses that they live in. And they have bedrooms and storage for school books and stuff. So we have just reorganised our school, and from next year we will only teach up to year 3, and the children older than that will go to the local village schools. So we're concentrating on preschool education and play and socialising and the first 3 years of primary school.
So do they learn English there, or is it all in Bengali?
They're taught in Bengali. Because they're going to go back to the village and they're going to go to a village school, so they have to be ready for that. So they're taught in Bengali. We have had English language programs because obviously English language can get you a good job. But it hasn't been hugely successful. So we're concentrating on the skills for the mothers that will enable them to earn a good enough wage to support the children.
So the mothers, let's say in northern Bangladesh, somebody identified them and they are brought to your place, Shreveport, with the child or children. Children. So how do they qualify? How do you assess their qualification to be admitted there?
A social worker will go out to their community and have conversations with them. Quite often it's quite obvious that they need help, that they are not married, or their husband's left, or their husband's died, and they have no way of supporting the children.
How do you manage the number of mothers and children, coming into you? Are you not flooded with requests?
No. We keep a a sort of regular amount of between sort of 140 and 180 mothers. We have quite a large capacity, and we discharge every December after people have been with us up to 3 years. It's up to them, obviously.
After 3 years?
Yeah, we have them up to 3 years to train them, and we save for them every month. So we put an amount in a savings account for them, and they have...
Savings. I'll come back. We have to go for a short break. We'll be back soon. Welcome back. We are talking to Trisha Silvester. She is an MBE. We'll come to that in a second. And we were talking about the training you give to the mothers and the children.
Yeah.
And you were saying that after 3 years, they're released. They go back to their villages,
Yep.
or they get a job.
Well,
Or
yes,
somewhere.
we give them about 6 months post-discharge support to ensure that they're back in their community and earning a living wage, and hopefully keeping their children in school, because that's one of our measures of success, really.
So the training itself to the
Yes.
mother,
Yep.
what sort of training do you give?
Well, we sit down with them when they come in first of all and have an individual training plan. And, you know, what community they're going to go back to if they are in, they have a community to go back to. Is it going to be rural? Is it going to be agricultural? You know, do they want to keep a cow? Do they want to keep ducks? Do they want to set up tailoring? Are they going to stay in an urban area where maybe they could work in a garment factory? Do they need training in that? So each plan is individual according to where that mother
Wants to go.
wants to go.
And the child?
Well, the children, I mean, the babies are obviously looked after in a baby house. Toddlers, we have a sort of toddler group every morning teaching the women really to play with their children. We're great believers in education, as everybody is really, that if you can get the children keen on learning and keen on socialising and spending time with their friends, then when they go out back into the villages, hopefully they'll sustain
So
that
let's say
interest.
if a 3-year-old boy or a
Yes.
girl
Yes.
is admitted to your place,
Yes,
and when she leaves, she's only 6 years old.
correct.
What is she going to do?
Well, she'll go to school back in her community, and we will have hopefully encouraged the mother and the child to enjoy education, to enjoy school. She will have done a couple of years of school with us, kindergarten and year one.
You said something about saving.
Yes, what
Yeah.
we do for the mothers is we pay them a small amount every month, because everything else is found, obviously their food and toiletries and clothing we provide. But they have pocket money, so that if they wanted to go out or buy something else, they have money to do it. But more importantly, we save into an account for each mother every month, so that when they leave at the end of 3 years, they have a capital sum.
And can you tell us about what sort of amount they go?
Well,
when
we
they
put
leave?
it up every year. I think at the moment it's about £5 a month or something like that.
Where
So-
do you get all the funding?
Well, where do we get all the funding? We've had some very generous donors in the past, and we have still quite a lot of people that pay us monthly
From
or
UK?
quarterly. From the UK.
UK, okay.
Yes, it is raised in the UK. So,
Do you
yes.
have donors in Bangladesh?
We have quite a lot of support in Bangladesh locally. Often that's in goods as opposed to money, which is absolutely great. Sort of biscuits from the biscuit factory, garment factory training room was set up by Crystal Martin, who are a garment factory out there. So there is increasing local support, which is wonderful.
Do you get help from the government?
No, we don't. We're an NGO, so we
Have you
operate
tried on
individually.
different projects?
Well, Sheikh Hasina had invited the children down to her residence, and we went down, and they had a picnic, and which was great. But no, we're independent and private charity, and we have to raise the money ourselves.
So, when did you become an MBE?
2000.
2000.
Yes. And I had it awarded in Dhaka by Princess Anne, who was over there with Save the Children. Yeah.
So that was related to your work in
Yes,
Bangladesh?
it was services to charities in Bangladesh. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about your family life.
Well, I have 2 daughters who are Bangladeshi, who I adopted.
Adopted.
Yes,
Okay.
they came home in 1980.
Came home
meaning here.
Came to UK.
Yeah, came into my home. And I have 2 boys born to me.
Okay.
So, but they're all in their 40s now.
So they are all married?
They are.
They are.
Yeah, they are.
He works in Bangladesh? And he got
does.
married? Where?
He worked at the project as a volunteer for 2 years. He's a teacher. He's been helping us to reorganise the school and the education. And he originally went out there with a project with street children in Dhaka, and he met his wife there. Yes, wife to be there. So they got married last January, but I'm just back from all the celebrations in Dhaka. Fantastic.
Does he speak Bengali?
He does.
Your son?
He went to language school when he first went out there. So he says it's not very good, but I think language is difficult because of colloquialisms, but everybody else seems to be quite impressed with his
Can you
language.
speak Bengali?
No, I know.
Can you understand Bengali?
Well, not really. I mean, to be honest, no. I go for about 2 or 3 weeks a year, and it's all to do with money. My job is to raise the money and to oversee the expenditure of the money out there. So we're very lucky to have Pat Kerr as our overseas director, because she's on site 80% of the time, and she's a great lateral thinker. She's very innovative, and as a small NGO, we're lucky because we can change quickly to changing conditions out there. But yeah.
Tell us about the Bengali culture, because it's number of over 2-3 decades. You
Yes.
know the Bengali community and Bangladesh.
Yes, I do, and I have great respect for it. I think Bangladesh in the past has had very poor press. The people are absolutely wonderful, and they love the fact that you're in their country and you're visiting. And we have a mosque on site, which the contractor who built the village gave us. He built it on site. And we also have Hindu and Christian and staff as well. Wonderful celebrations. I don't think anybody celebrates like the Bangladeshis. I mean, you're only going to say we're going to have a celebration. Everything goes up and the colours come out and people make tigers out of paper mache. I mean, it's just amazing. Just amazing.
Thank you. What sort of food do you have?
To be honest, I eat what's put on the table, mostly lentil soups and some curries, quite a lot of rice.
Can you cook curry?
Not very well, but I
very
can cook it.
Do you go to Indian restaurants in
I do.
here? Yeah?
Yes, I do.
How often?
Oh, well, it depends. Probably once a month at least. Because they're, as you're well aware, mostly run by Bangladeshis, aren't they, from Sylhet? So
70s, end of 70s, you went to Bangladesh first. What changes have you noticed?
Oh, huge. I mean, there are huge changes. Not much change to the traffic, which is appalling. You know, the garment factories has changed a lot of things economically for the country. It is changing. There's still tremendous need there.
Technology?
Yes. I mean, everybody's got a mobile phone, haven't they?
Yeah.
And
one of the highest
yes.
numbers
Yep.
in Asia.
Yep. In fact, we ran a contract for Telenor, the Norwegian mobile phone company. We ran their children's home in Dhaka. We've been had a contract with them for a few years. UNICEF sent them to us. So, yeah, and they said they went in to sort of make a difference, but actually they were overwhelmed by the demand.
Have you visited any other part in Bangladesh?
Yes, I've been up to Sylhet and
yes.
to the tea plantations.
Okay,
Beautiful,
okay.
very beautiful. I've been to Kurigram, I've been on to
Kurigram.
the Charles. I've been down to Cox's Bazar. I went down to, is it St Martin's Island? Right down.
St Martin's.
Yes,
Yeah.
I went down there. So, yes, I've been to a few areas in Bangladesh. Never been to the Sundarbans.
Sundarbans.
I know, I was going to go on that rocket trip,
Okay.
but there was a hardtail and we couldn't get to the boat.
Majority of our viewers are from the greater Sylhet area.
Yes.
Tell us about Sylhet. You have
Well, it
seen.
was a long time ago that I went, but it's very beautiful. And we went to the tea plantations. I was only there for 2 or 3 days. We went up on the train. And we flew up and came back on the train.
on the train.
But it's a very lovely part of Bangladesh. But as soon as you get out of the cities, it's a very lush country. You know, as you drive up to Shripur, you go through Forestry Commission land. There's a lot more building going on there because obviously Dhaka's sprawling outwards like London does and all capital cities. Certainly Sylhet was very beautiful.
How do you communicate with people when you get
Well, I
there?
smile a lot.
Smile a lot. Okay.
You can communicate with children. You don't really need language with children. And the mothers know what we're doing for them. And I'll go to mothers' meetings and some of our staff speak English. So if I really get stuck, I get somebody to translate.
Interpret.
Yes, that's right. But it's never really been a problem. It's just me being lazy and not.
Do you feel hot?
I can say a few things to the children. I can tell them they look beautiful and they're good or they're bad or whatever. But it's very low level.
Do you feel hot when you get there?
Sometimes, but I usually pick my times. I mean,
clever.
I don't go in sort
Clever.
of June or July.
July.
I go in November or January.
December, January. Excellent. It's been very interesting talking to you. We have learnt a lot. Personally, I heard about Shripur project, but today we have heard, and our viewers have learnt a lot as well. Viewers, we had an excellent discussion, and we learnt about the project, and the lady was awarded an MBE for services to the charity project in Bangladesh. Thank you so much for coming
Thank
to
you.
our studios. Viewers, we'll be back soon with another special person. Thank you for watching.